Britain today is a multicultural island, with a native population boasting a rich heritage of Anglo-Norman, Celtic, Latin, and French tradition, in addition to a more recent, albeit extremely embedded and equally British, mix-import culture from the various diasporas that now call this island home, namely Indian, Caribbean, Polish, Slovakian, and Nigerian, to name but a few. The past, of course, was no different. While the names of these groups may have differed, and their geographic origin was somewhat nearer to the island than the diasporas of modernity, nevertheless, the British have a proud heritage of being made up from migratory people. This video will look into the history of the migrations of perhaps the most important single group in English history, the Anglo-Saxons. Before we begin, we should clarify some terminology. The naming of these people and the groups that they make up have often been misused or represented in popular culture and knowledge. Firstly, these people were first and foremost Saxons, Angles, and Jutes, not English. Angle, or its Latin form Angi, would come to be applied to all Germanic language speakers upon the island, yet this phenomenon wouldn't be observed just yet. These people were somewhat distinct, with different dialects of a West Germanic language being spoken back in Europe. The amalgamation of these groups into one identity, the English, had not yet occurred, and Old English had yet to form as a standard language. To these people, there was no England, nor concept of the English, up until centuries after the Germanic settlement. In fact, many Angles, specifically, would go on to play an essential role in the formation of the Germanic lowland Scottish culture, most certainly not the same thing as English, and stating that this culture was born out of the English would be rather controversial indeed. So, who were these aforementioned three peoples? Who were the Anglo-Saxons and Jutes? The simple answer is that these were three somewhat distinct peoples from what is today the north of Germany and continental Denmark. The Angles come from what is today known as Chiswick and Holstein, a region in the south of Denmark and the north of Germany, lending their name to the peninsula Anglia, or Angle in German. As to how they came by the name Angle isn't actually known for sure, although it may indicate their proficiency at fishing, angle being a cognate with a modern English term, angling. Another possibility is that the word derives from a Proto-Germanic word meaning narrow, referring to the estuary of a prominent river that flows through the region. Finally, it possibly references the geographic shape of part of a region, which somewhat resembles a hook, the Proto-Germanic word for hook being similar to angle, a modern cognate word with the English anle. Secondly, we have the Saxons, who hail from a place called Saxony, a region which still exists today as a German state, although the historic borders have moved around somewhat. Saxony remained an important Germanic kingdom throughout the early medieval period. It must be remembered that only some of the Saxons chose to migrate to Britain. As for their name, Saxon most definitely refers to a sax, a knife that these people were well known for using, coming from the Proto-Indo-European word si, meaning to cut. A cognate can be found in the modern English verb to s. Finally, and perhaps the least known, are the Jutes. The Jutes, like the Saxons, have left a great legacy on the lands they inhabited, with the continental portion of Denmark today being known as Jutland. The name of these people is a Latin variation of Utus. The Old English word for this group, Utus, in turn comes from the Proto-Germanic Utas, which may mean various things, although giants and the great ones seem most plausible, perhaps referencing the physical stature of these people when compared to their southern neighbors. The Jutes perhaps are the most intriguing and unique of the three Germanic peoples to settle in Britain. It is very possible that they were the same peoples as the Eans, Franks, or Flanders, a region which borders the Gish-settled part of England. Supporting this is the fact that many historians believe that the Jutes were, in fact, at this point in history, not living in Jutland at all, but forced to migrate to Frisia and Flanders due to the Danish migrations into what is today continental Denmark. These relocated Jutes would be the ones to settle England, explaining the Frankish and North Sea influence on Jutish archaeological finds that are very distinctive compared to North German styles of the Angles and Saxons. Now that we know who these people were and who they were not, how they saw themselves, and the connections between each other, we can begin to explain the story of just how these people came to utterly dominate the majority of the island of Britain, an island already inhabited by millions of Celtic and Romano-Celtic people. Be sure to stay tuned and look out for the next video, The Anglo-Saxon Settlement of Britain, for this intriguing story. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more great historical content.